Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Juan's World, and as you can see, fourth candle is lit. It's the fourth week of Advent. We're just winding down to Christmas Eve, and at midnight on Christmas Eve, if I'm up, and I probably will be up, but I'll have already been asleep for my first sleep of the night, and I'll light it at midnight and into Christmas Eve. And then, as I mentioned last time in my decorating video, I'm using my wreath as the centerpiece. I don't have a tree, so my presents from my sisters, this is from my elder sister, and then over here the box is from my younger sister. She didn't wrap the presents, which I discovered very quickly when I opened the parcel, so I quickly just tuck them away. And then here is Great Dishes of the World by Robert Carrier. My elder sister gave me a copy, a paperback copy, when I was 21, long time ago now, 50 years. And I did keep the paperback edition for a very long time, but it fell apart eventually, and she took pity on me and she sent me her copy, hardbound copy from the 60s, which she had used lovingly, and you could tell she'd used it because if you turn the pages of her very favorite recipes, you'll find stains of gravy and various things. It's a much loved book. I don't actually use it very much, but I do now and again. It's got a good Christmas pudding recipe in it, and steak and kidney pudding, and various things. And then over here my my small liquor cabinet, which includes some brandy and some bourbon, which I will show you in use for Kentucky eggnog. Unfortunately, it's Jim Beam's, not the best bourbon, but it's the best I could get. And then down here we have some Coleman's mustard powder on the far left, which my elder sister also sent me, because I couldn't get it here, and it's really, really important for certain dishes like deviled kidneys and so forth. And then in the middle, a great surprise, Coleman's horseradish sauce, which I found in a supermarket here of all things, and it's very important for roast beef, among other things. Roast beef sandwiches in particular, very, very flavorful. So let's get started with some recipes. Now this post is mostly going to be stills, because I'm mostly just going to be talking through some ideas rather than showing you the actual recipes, although in a couple of cases I will show some videos, but mostly it's just me talking, and instead of you seeing me sitting on the couch, I'll give you some slightly more interesting things to look at. So starting here is the food processor, which I bought as my Christmas present to myself about 2 weeks ago, maybe more. I thought for a long time that I really needed one, because I had a very small one that isn't very powerful and doesn't do very much, and I've used it for making crumble topping and marzipan and so forth, but it's very small. This one's a giant, big motor, lots of different blades, including chopping and slicing and whipping and all kinds of things. And I just haven't had the gumption, I guess, to get it out, but I did, and I made some pastry using my younger sister's classic recipe, which works very, very well indeed. It's very simple. It's not meant to be for mince pies, but I did use it for mince pies as well as for other things. And here's the finished dough. The recipe is 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 ounces of chilled butter chopped up coarsely, and you put them in the food processor and spin for about 10 seconds, I think she said, or maybe 8. Don't think it's really all that important. I mean, you don't want to grind it to death, but you want to have it like coarse sand. And then with the processor running, you dribble ice water in until it all comes together. And this is the first time I've actually had a machine of this power, and it's really marvelous. You dribble the water in and it kind of chops the pastry up, chops, and then all of a sudden, boom, it all comes together. And then you divide it into, wrap it in cling wrap and refrigerate until ready to use. And here you can see I've got it out, ready to roll, and then I've rolled it out and cut some bases of some mince pies, put them into my pie dish, which has liners so that I don't have to grease the actual pan itself. I can pull the liners out, and that's really very, very, very useful, because a lot of the times I'll make mince pies in the pan and then I can't get them out for some reason or other. I mean, I grease as well as I can, but I can't get them out. But with these liners, they're kind of like cupcake holders. You just pull them out and then they just come right off. So I found, by great fortune, an old jar of mincemeat from last Christmas, which I had, I guess, put in the fridge for safekeeping and didn't bother with. I used to keep mincemeat for a whole year, but I haven't done that for quite some time, and this wasn't intentional. But it's very much like year-old Christmas pudding or year-old Christmas cake. I mean, if it matures for a full year, it's really very rich and dense. So I just made half a dozen because I can't really eat a whole lot. And I baked them, and I also had a little bit of pastry left over, so I made what's called a coffin in Victorian England. Not a very pretty one from the top, but from the bottom it looks perfectly fine, and it's just scrumptious with heavy whipped cream, which I'll do in a little while. So that's like part one of the food processor. And part two is sausage rolls. Sausage rolls and mince pies are absolutely bog standard for Christmas Eve, the very latter part of Advent as it is now. Certainly on Christmas Eve, my mother always made mince pies and sausage rolls, and my father made cockaliki soup, so that people who were coming to stay with us over Christmas could have them ready to eat. It's nice, not a heavy meal, but easily made on Christmas Eve, and so if they come at 5 o'clock or 9 o'clock, doesn't really matter, the soup keeps, and you can just pop the sausage rolls in the oven anytime you want. The mince pies you just have with cream. All delectable. But I thought I would add an Asian touch to my cooking this year, and so I've made both sausage rolls and mince pies and other things of an Asian flavor, if you like, that are in the same ballpark but not the same. Now the sausage rolls themselves, these here, are actually already fusion. They're my sister's pastry recipe, but the fillings are a combination of Vietnamese and Thai sausage meat. So they are not your regular English sausage meat.
But I also had a go at doing some deep frying, and I had in the past made empanaditas, as you can see them here, filled with mincemeat, perfectly delectable, but every bit as good as a mince pie, a little bit different. And I also made spring rolls of a Christmas variety instead of sausage rolls, as you can see here. So I've done the same this year, using the skins for Thai spring roll wraps, and also they can be used for Indian pakora. And you can see here I've filled one with Vietnamese sausage and just frying it down. And here you can see a wonton wrapper. It's actually two wonton wrappers that I have pieced together with some mincemeat in the middle. And so here on this plate is a little token plate of the various things that I made a lot more of, the sausage rolled kind of things and the mincemeat kind of things. And then here, as a finale, I've got some shrimp rolls, so that they're like sausage rolls, except instead of sausage they've got shrimp in them. And the dipping sauce is a Christmas mix of green and red, the sauces that are normally used for dipping these kinds of things. So that's my prelude. And on Friday, which is Christmas Eve, I'm going to give you my wife's recipe for Kentucky eggnog, which is quite brilliant, and always made on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve only. It was a very strict rule in the house, and I want to make it and share it with you because it's truly delightful. So I hope the wind down to Christmas is pleasant for you, and I'll see you on Friday.